Welcome to this video on expository writing, the draft stage. This is an exciting stage because this is where you get to put all your ideas into sentences. We're not going to worry about spelling or punctuation, anything like that. The important thing is taking what we have from our planning stage and putting it into sentences. Take a look at main idea number 1. You may remember this from when we did the planning stage. Now, my main idea number 1 is equipment or clothing, and I have details such as lacrosse stick, ball, nets, helmet, safety goggles. Now, when we put this into sentences, the main idea, equipment or clothing, is the first sentence of the paragraph. Then we add the details. So my main idea is equipment or clothing. So the first sentence could look like this. There is a lot of important equipment needed to play lacrosse. You'll notice that my first sentence includes the main idea, which was equipment. Then the next few sentences would be my details, and that's what this would look like. You'll see my main idea is still in red. It's the equipment, and my details are in green. So here's my details. First, every player needs a lacrosse stick, and each game will need a ball. It is important to have 2 nets. Each player should also wear a helmet and safety goggles. So you'll see that I put my details into sentences. Now, I didn't just write, you need equipment, you need a lacrosse stick, you need a ball, you need a net, you need a helmet, you need safety goggles. That would be kind of boring if we're just listing our details. When we write sentences, we want to expand on our details. We want to put in more explanation than just our planning stage. That's very important. When you are writing your draft, what you want to do is double space. Double spacing is important because when we get to the revising stage of our expository writing, we're going to want to have some room to make some changes because every good writer is going to make some changes to his or her writing. Very, very few people would write their best story the very first time they wrote it down. Most good writers are going to spend time adding or changing their story. So that's why we want to double space. This is what double spacing looks like. You would write on a line, and then you would skip a line, and you would write on a line, and you would skip a line, and write on a line, and skip a line. This would be double spacing, and it would allow me to make changes in my revision stage. See how I have room between the lines, between my writing? That's why we want to double space. You may remember that I had mentioned earlier you were going to write a 5-paragraph essay. And your paragraphs are these different sections. The introduction is 1 paragraph, and paragraphs, I identify them as making a double-stemmed backwards P. And your main idea number 1 and all the details that follow there is another paragraph. Main idea number 2 and all the ideas there, or the details, is another paragraph. Same with main idea number 3 and also with your conclusion. So you'll notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Here's my main idea number 1 paragraph that I'll show you again. Now you'll see something that's very important here. The very first line of a paragraph is always indented. And what that means is that there is a space here before the writing begins. And it's just a way to identify the beginning of a new paragraph. So the first line of a new paragraph or the first word of a new paragraph is always indented. It always starts a little bit over from the margin. And that way it's easy to identify paragraphs. So when you go to write your paragraphs, you're going to indent, so have a space where you don't write on the first line, and then you're going to write your story or your expository essay. And when you finish your paragraph, maybe you keep writing and you finish right here. You have your period. Then you start your next paragraph by indenting, so you have a space where you don't write anything, and then you begin your next paragraph. And I'm showing you how to do that while double spacing as well. And that way it's easy to identify paragraphs. Here's an example of paragraphs from the story Holes. You'll see that this paragraph, the first line of the paragraph, starts over a little bit, and then here's another paragraph. So we want to make sure we indent when we write our paragraphs. So now it's your turn to take what you've planned. The good news is that your introduction and conclusion are already written out in sentences. That's awesome. So you're going to write your draft, remember to double space, and to put everything into sentences. Have fun with that.